terrorists, they would always have an excuse for what they're doing, wouldn't they? For example, after this weekend's attack in Nice, France. All what you can hear from those who are excusing the terror there is that French colonialism, they have to pay for it. So I went out and checked. The French left Algeria 54 years ago. It was July 3rd, exactly 54 years ago, when France announced the independence of Algeria. But they who live in France for so many years since then and should be grateful for living in France and not in Algeria are still talking about colonialism because terror would always find an excuse. And this is exactly what we see, for instance, in Israel. They always tell you that they conquered us, they took our land, which is blah, blah, blah. And this is what happened 3,000 years ago. If you go out and check, this week's Parsha ends with the people of Israel conquering the Amorites and not touching Ammon and Moab because God, Hashem, tells them not to touch it. But 300 years later, in the book of Judges, which we read as the Haftara, the part that we read after reading the Torah portion of this week, chapter 11, we see that the king of Ammon is planning to go on war on Israel. Why is that? So Iftach, the judge back then, sends some people to ask the king why is he doing that, and he says, you conquered Ammon 300 years ago. So Iftach goes back, tells him the whole story that is in our Parashat Chukat, and tells him, we went there. We did conquer the Amorites. The Amorites did border with Moab. They did border with Ammon. But we didn't touch Ammon at all. We took nothing from you. That doesn't bother him. He wants to go on war with the land of Israel. He wants to conquer Israel. So he's a terrorist, basically, who is making up excuses against the facts of his history because he doesn't mind the history. He wants to attack the Jews in the land of Israel. And if that doesn't sound familiar, that's because you're not following the news from Israel. This is exactly what's happening here. And this is exactly what is being copied everywhere else. Wherever the Americans are being attacked, they always have an excuse for attacking them. No matter when did it start. And this is happening everywhere else. Terror would always have an excuse. Don't support terrorists because it's only an excuse that is coming out of bloodlust, bloodthirst, not because they have a real reason. It's just an excuse. Good week.